The notion of like, if I'm not feeling it, it's not working is still pushed. And that for me is like a very big BS.
Yeah, absolutely not true. And I say that all the time. People are like, I don't think I'm doing this right. I'm like, you're doing it absolutely right. The reason you're not feeling it is because you haven't had to think about it before.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the pod, Strong, Well-Fed, Outspoken. If you guys are new here or you're returning, thank you if you're returning. My name is Rusty or Coach Frizzle.
And I'm Coach Nell.
What up?
What is up?
Yeah, today first of all, Nell and I were just talking about how crazy the weather has been. I know I've talked about this kind of before because the weather has been absolutely insane like this entire winter. Even for me being in Hawaii, like we've had two massive storms, insane flooding. There's actually a storm warning again this morning for today and tomorrow. It doesn't look like it's going to be as bad, but it's like the coldest winter it's been out here for the islands. Like it's just wild everywhere.
I feel like it's extremes, right? Like for you, it's the storm, right? For us, it's the snow. My brother lives in Mexico City and it's been like the earthquake stuff, right? Like it's just whatever you normally deal with plus that.
Yeah. It's crazy. So how was your brother actually he was in Mexico when all the cartel stuff happened?
Oh yeah, he lives there.
That's crazy. How was that for him?
So I think like it was fine for him because he had like, I can go home, right? I can leave, but his fiance is from Mexico. So I think there was a lot of like, what do I do for the people I care about? Right.
Yeah.
But they actually were just in Canada. They're planning their wedding. So shout out to my brother. He won't listen to this, but congratulations.
Say whatever you want to say about him now.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're back in Mexico now for work and stuff. But
Cool. Yeah, my mom was actually in Mexico as well when all that stuff happened. She was at a resort. She was there for like a month. And my mom, like, just so funny. She's a power walker. She's a speed walker. And she does it like every morning for like.
Do you find that's common for that generation?
Yeah, I do feel like it. But in all fairness, my mom has also been doing this now for like 20 years plus. When she first really, I always say she was like my first client, but one of the first forms of movement she did like regularly cardio wise was just speed walking every day. She lost a ton of weight. But again, right, like that's kind of the concept. Don't like if you're listening to this thinking, oh, I just have to walk faster. Like that's no, she went
consistency.
Yes. Yeah, like doing nothing to like an hour of walking, and that was huge. And then of course changing her food. But anyway, so she was in Mexico. And if you guys saw any of the footage where like they were outside of like a Costco and there were like cars like blowing up, she like had walked there like the day before, and she was out in the morning of when things were happening, and she said to me on the phone later, she was like wondering to herself, where is everyone? Like all the stores are closed. And then somebody had come out and was like, what are you doing on the street? And she's like, I don't know, going for a walk. And they were like, you need to go back to your resort right now. She had no idea, and they hadn't like already told everyone. So just honestly, crazy.
I get that because that's kind of how I feel right now being in Canada, right? Like I don't watch the news. I maybe should, right? I don't get a newspaper, but with the rules around like sharing news links and stuff on social media in Canada, I feel like I miss a lot of it, and I very much am in the dark. And I mean, honestly, that's on me. I need to educate myself better, but I used to get a lot more without having to seek it out.
Yeah. I feel like that too. I've really changed my feed so that I don't see a lot of that stuff. And honestly, I probably should do my due diligence, but I can't. There's so much negative stuff in the world. And I feel like it's also like, you just can't like trust any source anymore. And so I just don't pay attention.
Well, even for us today, like what do we talk about? Hot topics in our industry. I don't get a lot of that on my feed because I know it's a little bit incorrect. And so like, I'm not consuming that media, right? So I actually had to go searching for stuff.
Yeah, totally. It's like every industry, every topic, I'm sure, right? There's, well, who knows if they're listening, but I was going to say, I'm sure somebody out there is listening that's like, I don't know, an architect or something that watches stuff where they're like, this isn't true, or this is bullshit, or whatever it is, right?
Well, even me being pregnant, I Googled something about pregnancy, and now I'm just inundated with pregnancy videos. And I was like, oh, I didn't want that.
Bro, I can't even
Give me
imagine.
back my rug cleaning videos.
Yeah, honestly. Well, and that's the thing too. They do say our devices are always listening, but it
Yes.
makes it really hard to kind of start to identify like what is real, what is incorrect.
Yeah,
And I
what's a
think
valid source? And
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's especially hard too when it comes to like fitness and health
yes.
because it's very personal.
Yes, and everybody has an opinion because everybody at some point in their life has made an effort to change how they look or feel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then if you're talking as well about, let's say, struggling or wondering if something's wrong with you, and then, you kind of find a video or you find somebody speaking about their experience and it sounds like yours, or you
Yeah, like it
find
really
somebody
resonates, right?
that's exactly, that's like giving you an option that might justify how you're feeling. It's very easy for us to cling to that, especially if you have been feeling hopeless and like you have no answers.
Yeah,
But
someone
then
once said to me, like, you will find someone you agree with on the internet.
always,
I was like,
always.
that's so true.
Yeah, always, always, always. It's hard. It's really hard to navigate. And so today, guys, we actually want to chat with you guys a little bit about some of the like buzz, I don't know, not necessarily buzzwords, but like hype
The like,
buzz.
common things in, I don't even, yeah, like common things you're going to be hearing in the space right now, or
I just
like
really want to say
topics
like
people are talking
bullshit.
about. But there, I think the problem is there is validity in a lot of these
Exactly.
things, but
Exactly.
not in the sense you're being told.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And it's kind of it was interesting to like think about what I've been seeing lately because I actually just saw a video the other day. Oh shoot, what was it now? I was thinking about this before we hopped on. Um, I saw a video the other day and it was actually an exercise. Somebody sent it to me. That's what it was. And it was like a girl, she was taking a sumo stance position, but then she sat down on a bench and then she held a dumbbell in front of her and leaned forward. And she's like, this is the best way to work your glutes. I'm like, and it had like 14,000 likes, and all these people were like, this is brilliant, no lower back pain. I'm like, nothing is happening for your glutes here.
Yeah,
Like, you're literally
you've
sitting
taken the movement
down.
away. Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy, but even just that, right? Like exercise selection that we see that gets popular and it just takes off, and you look at it and you're like, well, it has all these likes, so it must be true. And people in the comments are saying this is awesome, so it must be true. And
well, and I think we
I,
talk about this a lot, right? Because people are like, I don't know if I feel it where I'm supposed to.
yeah,
And if you aren't moving in a certain way, you're going to feel it when you move a different way. It's just maybe
mm,
not the intended, it's not going to do what you think it's doing just because you
yeah,
feel it more than you did not doing it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like I can do the
absolutely.
splits. That's not going to make
Yeah.
me stronger,
Can you
but
actually do
it
this?
absolutely I can. And
That's
it
awesome.
looks hella impressive. And I could give you some, you know, BS thing about like, oh, my quads are working here, my hamstrings working here, and this is optimal because I can lift myself up. But that doesn't mean that's actually doing what you think it's doing, right? Just because you can
Yeah.
feel it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. The sensation, that's probably one of the biggest bullshit things that I feel like gets pushed. Again, there's validity to it. There are always exercises where you're going to feel that muscle like really work and really contract, and usually that's when we're doing an exercise that like gets our muscle into that shortened position. So when it's working, are you also feeling it work? Yes, but the notion of like if I'm not feeling it, it's not working is still pushed, and that for me is like a very big BS
Yeah, absolutely
concept.
not true. And I say that all the time. People are like, I don't think I'm doing this right. I'm like, you're doing it absolutely right. The
Yeah.
reason you're not feeling it is because you haven't had to think about it before,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
That too. That as well. Doing a different
Or yeah,
exercise.
you've moved your body consistently the same way for years and years and years. And this is the first time I'm asking you to move it slightly different. So of course it
Yep.
doesn't feel how you expect it to feel.
Yep. Yep. So be very cautious of that, you guys, when you're like looking at exercises online that are trendy, that are popping off, that people in the comments are like, oh, I felt this really well. I felt this really well. If it's hard, I think, with exercises because if you don't have a background, I mean, I guess it's hard with anything because if you don't have
Yeah.
a background in that, but this is where, yes, if you do work with like a coach or even if you send things to us on social media, we're happy to kind of give you guys a little bit of an explanation or like, yeah, that looks good or it looks terrible or
Yeah,
whatever it might
because
be.
truly, sometimes when I'm sent those, I have to physically do it and go, Wait.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I love. That's why I was running that series for a bit, just with is it fire or is it a flop? Because
Yeah.
some of the things I was even trying out, and I was like, damn, this is great. But one thing I would always say as like a red flag is if somebody like posts something and they're like, you got to try this out, but they give you like zero explanation as to why it's going to work, whether in the video or in the caption, they're just like, this felt really good. That's a big red flag for me
Yeah. This
because
changed how I'm going to train, but
yeah,
no, how?
actual yeah, there's no proof
Yeah. Like
of
I want the W's, the who, what, the when, why, the where, you know?
yes, absolutely. How is this working? How is this actually hitting your glutes more? Why are you saying that this is a better hack? It looks to me like it's just a hack for you to try and get more likes and engagement. So there should always be an explanation when somebody is telling you that this is a new great way of doing something.
And that leads into like exercise science, right?
Yeah,
That gets thrown around so much. Exercise science. It's a hype word to make you listen to something I'm saying so that you think I know what I'm doing.
yeah.
But if the actual context of it is how is the body moving? What is it targeting? And why is it targeting that?
Yes,
Right?
and like
That's what you want to be using it for.
exercise science is a real thing, you guys. There are people who study exercise science, who have a degree in exercise science. That is absolutely true. But if you're watching a video where somebody is just throwing around these very large words, that is a little bit more of a red flag. Like, I've studied exercise science. When have you ever heard me say exercise science?
Yeah, like I love
Never.
corrective movement, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to program a squat with a little bit of discrepancy in where your legs are placed, you know, like
Definitely. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Another like big one that actually I just shared the video the other day. It was from a doctor and it was a phenomenal video. I love the reshare button now on Instagram. Have you used that much?
yeah, I like it because it also shows like who shared it. Because then a lot of the time I see stuff and I'm like, do I trust this source? And one way that can help is it shared from another trusted source?
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I think that there's like credibility by association
Yeah, and you
sometimes.
can put your own little thought on it too, right? When you reshare something, you can put your own caption in there too, so you can share like your thought on it too.
Yep, yep. So this came from Dr. Michelle Gordon. She is, as the name implies, a doctor. She has, I don't even know what the acronyms stand for when you go to her page. She has all the letters, like so many different ones I've never even seen. But she's a doctor, really, like in a synopsis, if I got this right, of the metabolism,
Mm.
which is so, so cool.
And such a
She
specialty thing, right?
yeah, oh yeah. So if you guys go to my Instagram profile, coach.frizzle, and you go to where the reshares are, you can find the video because I don't share, honestly, reshare a ton of stuff. But it was a fantastic video because she talks all about how calories in, calories out is a very simple equation
Yes.
that does not actually account for the complexity of the human metabolism. And this is something that I think gets, thrown around so much because everybody is hormonally broken right now.
Mhm.
Thyroid this, adrenals that,
Yeah.
cortisol
Or and
going
people are
this and
promoting like
that.
hormone balancing workouts, hormone balancing meal plans. Like it's that's a big overhyped umbrella term that's being out there right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, as we said at the beginning, like it's really like it's comforting to feel like there might be something else going on and then get a justification that or not a justification, get something that aligns with why you think you're not seeing progress. The problem though, I personally think is that like because everybody has this like hormonal issue nowadays, a lot of people don't actually have a hormonal imbalance, they have a lifestyle imbalance.
Yes. Yeah, one of my first
It's
questions is when you say I need to balance my hormones, I'm going to say what hormones?
yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Because we are made of a plethora of hormones. Like it's not just like one thing out of whack. There's so many things going on in your body, and we need to have a jumping off point of like what is actually a problem and what's not. Because if you're just like, oh, I need to balance my hormones, what hormones are we looking at?
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's all of these phrases that get thrown around balancing hormones. Absolutely. Hormone dysfunction. What hormones are we talking about? But like most people, in my opinion, who say things like hormone balancing or, hormone disruptors or whatever aren't actually that credited in what they're talking about. Again, it kind of comes back to exercise science. They're using a lot of like trigger style words.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm of the team that hormones matter 100%,
Absolutely.
so much, because I've always said that physical follows the physiological, right?
And
So
you and
like,
I are firm believers in like routine blood work and stuff. So we're actually monitoring those things.
oh yeah, absolutely. But I also think that a lot of people fall into the habit of blaming hormones. Meanwhile, they're under eating, they're overstressing, they're overworking out, they're sleeping like shit, they're inconsistent. So it's not again a human, or sorry, it's not a hormone dysfunction issue. It's system
Habits,
mismanagement.
systems. Yeah.
It's lifestyle mismanagement
And I
that
think
is
we see
contributing to all
this
those other things.
hugely, especially in the like perimenopause, menopause shift, because your hormones are absolutely changing at that point. That is a fact.
Yeah.
However, you notice it become a problem because you didn't have the habits in the first place. You were already sedentary. And so when your hormones did change, you're seeing the outcome of that and you don't know how to deal with it. And so instead
Yeah.
of going, hey, I need to change my activities, I need to, look at how I'm feeling my body, it's hormones' fault now, even though those things were a factor earlier on and we didn't realize it.
Yeah, yeah. I think a big issue with the like hormonal health movement right now is that the industry has kind of like flipped the hierarchy because it sells better, right? They're telling you like your hormones are the issue. We have to fix that first. And don't get me wrong, there are so many people that have literally chronic issues
Truly,
that
truly.
absolutely hormones matter first. You need to focus on that first. But for a lot of people, you need to fix your inputs. You need to fix your sleep and how much you're eating and how much you're stressing. What your sleep is like, what your habits are like. You fix those inputs and your hormones do actually follow. So like
Yes.
being totally real with you guys, like, for me, I'm still in my health phase. It's been a year now. It's probably going to be another year. And I just did blood work again, and my thyroid is like improving, which is amazing. Now it looks like we're switching over to focus on my liver, and like I'm totally going to use a buzzword here and say liver cleanse because I'm not. But here's the thing, like, and this is an example. Like a liver cleanse is an actual thing that exists for the right person. Why am I going to do a liver cleanse? And it's probably not a liver cleanse like what you've seen your favorite influencer
Yeah, we're
talk
not
about
doing
online.
juices for 6 days here.
No, exactly. And I'm doing it because my liver is literally elevated, and this is something that we have seen happen in waves over the last 3 years.
Yeah,
So
and
my
it's been
liver,
monitored, right?
yes, I actually need support. This is proof. But in talking even to my own coach that I do a lot of hormonal review stuff with, he was saying to me, and this lines up exactly with what we're saying. We were talking about how, my thyroid has held up so well despite, all of the long deficit that I was in because of my lifestyle factors,
Yes.
because I prioritize sleep, because I work out and I rest well and I eat well and, I manage my stress and all those other things. Your body is incredibly resilient. Your thyroid is incredibly resilient. Your liver is incredibly resilient. If you give it the right inputs. And the
Yes,
reality is
truly.
most of us, yeah, like we're overstressed. We stay up all night watching TV. We eat like shit. We drink all the time. And then we're like, oh, I can't lose weight because my hormones are the issue. No, your life is the issue that impacted your hormones. And then
Yes,
your hormones now are impacting your potential to lose weight.
exactly. And like when I was going through my own health issues, right, it wasn't hormone related, it was celiac disease.
Yeah.
Um, and I knew it wasn't hormones because, again, looking at the blood work, looking at my actual hormone health, I had a very regular cycle, my levels were appropriate, and something else was wrong. Sleep
Yeah.
was in check, nutrition was in check, workouts were in check. That actually allowed me to figure out the
Yeah.
bigger issue. Because if
Yeah.
I had just started feeling lethargic and achy and sweaty at night and all of these things that you might be listening to and you go, I thought that was hormones,
Yeah.
I probably would have defaulted to like something is out of whack. But
Yeah.
because I knew to dig deeper, because I was looking at those things, it actually gave me the answer I needed.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's hard as well, right? Like let's be real, because if we think that there is something that's preventing us from losing weight, or if we think that there is something that might be like a roadblock, let's say, it's easy for us to also say like, oh, I need to do a health phase or I need to do a healing protocol of some kind. What because we think that that's the key to fixing our problem, when again it was actually lifestyle. And so now what people are doing is they're using all these healing phases that are really just disguised as avoidance.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because a health phase doesn't mean you're avoiding things.
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of what, like, oh, I'm healing. I'm allowing myself to have space for these things. But if the space you're giving yourself isn't actually beneficial, it's not doing anything. Or
Yeah.
in fact, it's making it worse because it's allowing less and less effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just said like, I am in a health phase,
Yeah,
but
like these,
again,
like we said, all of these things
they're
do have
nuanced, first of all.
validity. Yes,
Yes. Yeah. Nuance is like the name of the game. If you guys listen to Coach Nell and I
it's true.
at
Should have
all,
called this podcast nuance and stuff.
yeah, 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 yeah. Maybe this, maybe that, blah, blah fitness.
Yeah, in the
um,
gray area,
yes,
But I
honestly,
think that's
that
like
actually be a
everybody
great
talks
name.
in black and white, and that's the problem.
Hmm.
Is someone says you're in the white, now you're in the black. Okay, well, how do I do that? But it's
Yep,
that stuff in the middle. Like everybody falls in a spectrum, right?
yep,
This is why we say like health or fitness or workouts don't fit one size because
yep.
everybody has unique needs.
Oh, yeah.
And the good coach or a good place for you to be in is someone who's going to help you identify those and not go, oh, it's hormones, or oh, you need to do a health phase. Don't do anything, just have naps.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Totally, totally, totally. It's it's hard. It's hard to distinguish, and that's kind of why again we wanted to like do this episode, because again, yes, like I'm in a health phase. I've been here for, like I said, for a year. This is a very legitimate health phase, but the problem is like a lot of people, like I said, I think they're using healing phases to just disguise like avoidance. So, like a gut healing phase, right? Your nervous system reset phases. I have to like go into a metabolic recovery phase. All of these sound really smart. Can
They
we be
do,
real? Like,
absolutely, yeah.
they sound crazy
Yeah,
smart.
like listening to them, like, oh, tell me more. What's a metabolic recovery phase, right?
Yes. Yeah. But in reality, most of it is just like you're either avoiding doing the work and the discomfort of being in a calorie deficit. You're avoiding having to actually follow some type of structure. You're avoiding, yeah,
Or
discomfort.
going from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Like,
it.
yes, you want to, if your sleep is garbage, you do need to probably rest. You do need to allow your nervous system to downregulate. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're going from drinking 17 monsters a day and staying up all night playing video games to staying in bed all day,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
We don't want the extremes. Again,
Yeah.
that gray area.
The thing is like healing absolutely does exist, and again health phases do exist, but real healing is having like very structured inputs, having very like objective shifts with monitoring your biofeedback. It has very clear progression that like reflects back into our output, right? You're not just like sitting in maintenance mode for 6 months doing nothing and calling it alignment or calling it intuitive.
Right.
That's not growing you at all. It's
Yeah,
you
because
just avoiding
truly, like
discomfort.
when I needed to shift literally my health because what I was doing wasn't working, the food I was eating was literally ruining my stomach. I stopped
Mhm.
tracking my macros for a while.
Yeah,
Not because I didn't think that there's value in that, but because I needed to learn how to eat other food and I needed to make sure I was eating enough of certain types of food to honestly bring back the things that were failing. And then once I got to that point, I could bring that tool back in.
yeah,
That was a shift for me in a health phase or in a balancing phase or a healing phase, not throwing everything out and stop doing everything else. I was still working out. I was still working on proactive sleep habits.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Certain things can and should shift, but what the shift looks like, I think, is very critical to the validity of what it is that you're doing. Like there was somebody not too long ago who like uh they literally did like their post went viral. It got like 20 million views, and it was they were doing like a gallbladder detox,
Okay.
and they literally like first of all guaranteed they don't have the credentials to be doing this with other people, but and they like laid out all of their like gallstones like
Oh,
on. I know, I'm like disgusting, bro. It's
interesting
yeah, but like
approach.
I know. They so they were advertising like doing this gallbladder reset detox, whatever you want to call it. And they were trying to show like look at what came out of my body. And again, they for sure don't have the credentials to be doing this. It did go viral. A lot of the comments were like hate because people were like this is so extreme and it's so unnecessary. And it's hard because you do hear again like people talk about their stories and like, oh, when I was like I don't know, when I had to do a parasite
Mhm.
cleanse or, a liver detox or whatever it is, all of these things sound fancy. And I think to a certain extent, people are bored. I think they're bored with the idea of like, oh, I have to do a calorie deficit. I have to follow a meal plan. I have to work out. People are bored. They've
Yeah.
been hearing this for the last, 5, 10, 20 years. They're like, I want something new in order to feel motivated enough to try something different. Those different things don't actually work.
No, and I think a lot of the time, symptoms we're experiencing overlap
Yeah.
because we're humans, right? Oh, so you have, brain fog, you're tired, you have a headache. Do you know how many boxes that checks for how many symptoms and things? It,
Yep.
it, we hear ourselves in a lot of it. And even I do, right? Like, oh, I've been struggling with headaches. What did I literally going through a laundry list of things? What might be wrong with me?
Yep.
And I think that's what loops us in, right? We're looking for something different. We're looking for something new and exciting. But oftentimes we hear ourselves in the pitch,
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
right? Like, let's talk about actually detoxing or removing something from the body. Candida overgrowth. You had a yeast overgrowth not that long ago, right? I think
Yeah.
we talked about it on the podcast. That's
Yep.
something that now needed to be dealt with. My sister in the early, I guess, yeah, early 2010s, she had a parasite. She picked it up when she was traveling around the world. She
Yep.
needed to remove that. That doesn't mean that I'm over here needing to do a parasite cleanse, right?
Yeah. 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 Like I was watching somebody the other day who was just talking about how like living in Canada, living in, North America on the mainland, like, oh, people should be doing a parasite cleanse. It was like, but like, why are you pushing this on people? Like, she was just like, just going off about how like everybody should be doing a parasite cleanse, at least once a year. And her justification was that when you look at other countries, they all do parasite cleanses regularly. But the
Because
countries
of
she
the
was naming
diets.
were like
Yeah.
Guatemala and like even like Hawaii, right? Hawaii is, part of the US, but they are on an island. It is
Yes.
very, very different. I think there's even exceptions again living in the gray to that. If you are somebody who lives in Chicago, but you do eat a ton of raw
Of
fish
course, yes.
and you tend to be like me and like your meat like kind of undercooked, there could be validity to that. But to just be
Yeah,
broadcasting to
that's like
everyone
me
like,
going and saying every time you go for a hike, you need to check for ticks because I have
yeah,
to do that where I live, but you probably don't where you do. Are you hiking
yeah.
in the desert instead of the muskeg? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So again, like kind of going back to the what we said at the beginning with the exercise stuff, like their reasoning as to why, right? Okay, so if somebody's not even giving you any logical explanation why an exercise is good, that should be an immediate red flag. They're using big words, that should be a red flag,
yeah, or
right?
as I
Like,
say, we see it's a secret. People don't want you to know this.
yeah,
Anyone who cares about what they're passionate about, what they work, the industry they work in, they want you to know.
absolutely,
We want you to
absolutely.
know.
Yeah, like never in my life have I thought to myself, I need to hold back this information that might change
No,
somebody's life.
no. Or to correct incorrect information, and in a positive way, of course. But like,
Yeah.
I'm in a Facebook group locally, and people are constantly asking for diet and nutrition advice. And honestly, as coaches, just cycle through taking turns because there's so much misinformation out there, and I don't want to keep my knowledge a secret if it can help you make a choice that is not going to put you at risk. Because a
Yeah.
lot of that information that's being given is likely going to put you at risk or set you up
Yeah.
for failure.
Yeah, 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 definitely. So in the same way, when you guys are seeing content online from a health perspective, when they're pushing health phases on you, gut resets, are they explaining why this would actually be pertinent? And is the why actually applicable to you? Or, be honest with yourself. Does something inside you resonate with it because you think that then I won't have to follow a calorie deficit? Then I won't have to actually give up my wine. Then I won't have to actually change my habits. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's none of those things. It's just the fact that maybe I have a parasite, or, maybe I need to do a liver cleanse or
Because
something
Lord
like
knows
that.
I wish I could do something for 6 days and have magical results. I still
Yeah.
wish that all the time.
All the time, man, all the time. That pendulum is swinging too far. It's going from one extreme to the other, and again, we're using all of these health phases and cleanses as a way to distract, disguise, avoid the work that actually has to be done.
Yeah, because we don't
And
want to struggle. We don't want to feel even remotely close to it being difficult. We
yeah,
seek out easy, we seek out comfort.
yeah,
And
yeah,
even if it's discomfort, we can convince ourselves we can do anything for a couple of days.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like the functional movement a little bit, right? I feel like
Yeah,
everything
how do
is
you feel about
functional
functional
nowadays.
movement? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, bands, Bozu balls, standing on, I don't know, one leg, juggling dumbbells. Like, it's,
Right. Oh,
it,
even in yoga, right? I'm like, oh, that's not a proper whatever
right? It's,
chaturanga.
it's one of those things where, it looks cool. Again, it sounds cool. Do you notice how all of these things have, one thing in common? Because they
Cool.
either sound cool or they look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, anytime you're watching somebody do something and they're talking about functional, ask yourself, functional for what?
Yeah.
like, you know?
It's true.
Um, because if your goal is to build muscle, lose fat, get strong, then anything that looks a little unstable in a circus style manner is probably not actually functional, right? I also want to say though, I don't believe that the only way we do get strong and build muscle is by only ever lifting heavy weights. I think you
Right.
should be able to do movements that force you to lower your weight, force you to focus on tempo, focus on control, focus on balance, coordination.
And what you're doing in your life, right? Like, I like to ask myself when I see new things or I see what do you call it, functional, how does that apply to me in my regular life?
Yeah,
Right? Because, like you said, do I need to stand on one leg while juggling? Probably
yeah,
not. So, is a movement that's doing that going to benefit me the same way that other exercises are going to? No. And the
probably
reality
not.
is, you and I have different movements, right? I like to ride my motorcycle. I do a lot of yoga. I am in the arts. So, do I need to have the ability to do a high kick? And you probably don't.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Right? So,
yeah.
functional for me is not going to be the same as functional for you.
Yeah, definitely. But overall, you guys, you want to remember real function is, can your body produce force? Can your body produce strength efficiently and repeatedly, and progress with those things in this movement? That's probably a great way to look at again what is functional, and that is such an umbrella term that there's so many things that will fit in that, and again that is okay.
Yes.
Any form of movement can actually be functional, but when you're noticing things that again look cool, they get lots of views, and people are like, oh, this is functional training, ask yourself, just like the other things, who is this applicable for? What does this actually work? Functional for what? These are, you need to be able to challenge your own thinking, but you also need to be able to challenge somebody else's thinking.
And I think that's what we want for you, right? Is we
Yeah.
want you to have the ability to see something, question it, and find an answer in it. And
Yeah.
not necessarily immediately take everything at face value. And that includes things we say, right? Like if you have questions about it, dig
Yeah.
deeper. That's
Yeah.
the point. That's
Yeah.
going to allow you to grow and progress, right? We talk about muscle growth, we talk about progressing in your workouts. Do that mentally too.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, it's one of those things where I think most people, if I'm being real with you, I don't think actually have a fat loss problem or a progress problem. They just have an information problem. And man, you guys, I was there for so long following. I look back at my archives on Instagram at the
Right?
exercises I was doing that I saw from online. And like, I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. You know, the supplements I bought
Yeah,
at one point or
shaking my
another.
head at what I used to think was valid.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's just this the stuff bought, the time spent, the information consumed, that's the problem. You don't have a fat loss, muscle building, strength problem. You have an information problem. You're not broken. Even if you do have a diagnosis of like PCOS, Hashimoto's, you're still not broken. Your body's incredibly resilient. The problem is that you're just following advice that sounds smart but doesn't actually tend to work. They
Yeah,
just,
working within your own abilities. And that's right. Like if you have a
yeah,
diagnosis or you have an injury, right? Functional, air quotes here, exercise might not work for you because I don't know, maybe you have one arm. Right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're not capable. It means that's not relevant to you.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, have you seen anything like crazy online lately?
Crazy online lately. Well, I think maybe we'll talk about this in a future episode, but like new exercise standards coming out and
Oh
things like
yeah,
that. How do you feel about like more exercises versus like reps?
yeah.
Like
This is
doing
one.
better reps or more exercises? Like is there validity to those claims?
Yeah, I mean, and that's something I feel like gets talked about like a lot, but not directly. Like you don't hear people online being like, "Oh, are high reps better than low reps" or things like that. It's just people talk about it naturally in terms of how they train.
And I
Um,
think I see this a lot, especially with women in a little bit of an older demographic than me who have shifted away from this like trying to be tiny mindset and wanting to be strong. And then so they hear I have to train low rep, high weight, but they're actually not training at a high enough weight for that rep scheme. And so when I program for them, I'm like, here's some, I have a wide program range of reps that I program for people, especially depending on the area of the body, what the setup is. And I get a lot of questions about like why am I doing so many of these? And
yeah,
it's like because we actually need to load up. We need more weight here to get you to that goal of being strong, of building the muscle bigger. But we don't do that, right? We haven't done
yeah,
that, even though we've shifted our mentality.
yeah, yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of that right now as a trend.
Yeah, I think that like it really depends on like what the person's like goals are. Um, yeah, and I also think it really depends though on like what their structure is currently like, what their experience is like. You
Experience
know,
is huge. Yeah.
yeah, even previous injuries, like even for me, to be honest, I'm noticing lately I'm really pulling back from like grinding out heavy weights because it is just very taxing on your nervous system. And you can accomplish a lot with going a little bit lighter, higher reps, better tension, better control. I think first of all, it's like very like it feels very empowering, very badass to lift a ton of weight. But I think that there was for a long time this push that like heavy weight is the best way.
Yes.
The reality is our goal is to create tension. It's to create muscular tension in the most efficient way possible. If you are lifting weight to create muscular tension that is literally like taxing your nervous system, you're struggling to recover, you're going to have an issue going into the gym for your following workouts, right? You're going to have an issue probably even just maybe with digestion or sleep or things like that. Like it can kind of have a domino effect into the other areas of your life.
And I
But
think, go ahead.
no, no, no. I was just going to say, but at the same time, there is such a thing as junk volume too, right? Like if
Yes.
you're going so light in weight that you're doing like, 15 plus reps on everything all the time, we're not probably likely challenging our muscle to the capacity that it could be challenged. So again, like you said before, right? Like we're living in the gray, but that is really where training should be, in the gray. Like I personally think that honestly, the best training program from an overall strength, hypertrophy, life perspective would combine, one or two strength movements, two or three hypertrophy based movement, an explosive or power based movement, and then some type of functionality,
Yeah, because
whether
I
that,
think a higher rep range is also going to allow your confidence to be increased,
yeah,
which is where a lot of us are missing the mark.
yeah,
We're told lift heavy, get strong, but we actually don't realize how heavy we're capable of. And
Yeah.
so by doing lighter weights, higher reps, or even a challenging weight, it should always be a challenging weight at higher reps, it allows you to see what you're capable of. Because I don't
Yeah.
know about you, I'm a big girl. I am not little. Like, I'm almost 6 feet tall. So I go to the gym and I have no problems asking someone for a spot. But if I load up enough that these meat sticks can squat, there is a very real chance I'm getting crushed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So by
100%.
working in a higher rep range, I can continue to be safe in the gym and not sell myself short, because heavy is actually not heavy for me, but I
Yeah.
haven't allowed myself to experiment with that.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And again, this is where like it depends on the person, right? Even their biomechanics. Like we said, experience and whatnot is of course huge goals where they are
And
in
like
life, but like
mental
biomechanics.
capacity, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you like lifting heavy, and you and I have both done phases like this where you go in and you're doing, like, I don't know, 4 sets of 4, right? And there's maybe 3, 4 exercises and then you're done. Mentally, I had the capacity to do that. But when I first started training, if you had given me a workout with only 4 exercises, I would have just been like, what is this? I can't force myself to do this. And so sometimes I think more exercises are more beneficial versus less, right? Because it's about what you're capable of and what you have the mental capacity to do. And if you've
Yeah.
never worked out before, you probably will benefit from more exercises versus more reps.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. Um I think kind of like to wrap everything up, I think that the fitness industry doesn't have a lack of information problem, like in no way, shape, or form, but it has a lack of correct application,
Yes.
right? Like most of what you hear online has validity to it. Most of what you see online, what people do, their experiences, even with different cleanses, like the guy who did the gallbladder thing, whether he did it for himself or a doctor, clearly he had stones that he did get out of. That doesn't mean you should be doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a lack of correct application that is the issue.
And I think an excess of delivery methods right now, right? Like, when you and
Yes.
I first started training, social media wasn't even really big, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so to educate yourself on something, you had to go to, a more specific source. And now you can get it from anywhere, right? So I feel like that also factors in, because
Yeah.
it's there. There's so many sources for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. The fitness industry really doesn't have a lack of information problem. Most of what you're hearing, again, like there's validity to it. But the problem is that it's being applied to the wrong person at the wrong time in the wrong phase. And that is why people continue to feel stuck, even though they try all of these different things.
Yeah, because fitness is not an elite club. It
Yeah.
used to kind of be, right? It used to
Yeah,
very much be
definitely.
that. You would go, you would be with your group, that's where you got your information from. It's not that anymore, which is
Yeah.
actually amazing. But at the same time, now we're like, oh, is this for me? I don't
Yeah.
actually know.
Yep, yep. If you want results, guys, like you don't need more hacks. You don't likely need any type of crazy cleanse or detox or supplement. You need the right structure that's applied at the right time for you. And if you are like, I just don't know how to do that, this is where we're going to say working with a coach is massively beneficial. Working with somebody you trust, and how you earn trust for people, I would say, is by following them for a period of time.
Yes, I agree.
Don't find one post from somebody you like and decide to hire them. Follow them for a long period of time. See if what they continue to post is consistent. They should be uh, they should be posting signs of proof, or other clients should be showing signs of proof of working with them. It's really important that you work with somebody that you trust if you feel like, I don't know how to do this even for myself.
Mhm.
And so, again, if you guys are looking for that, we would love to chat with you. In the show notes below, there will be a link that you can click on. We'll hop on a call. We'll chat more about where you're at, what you're struggling with, or we'll just chat about, what it is that you're doing right now and if that actually makes sense for what your struggles are and where you want to go.
And get excited, because everything we talked about today is probably going to apply, right? We're going to get in that gray area for you, and you're going to love it or hate it, but it's going to work.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And in the meantime, guys, if this was helpful, if this was interesting, please consider sharing it. Tag us if you do. You can find our social media handles for both of us
All of
below.
us, yeah. The podcast for us, for you.
Everything, yeah. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Consider leaving us a 5-star review, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Bye.